What's up my people, my name is Spicey and today I have two stories coming out of the subreddit prorevenge. If you like these videos, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a fire emoji in the comments because your engagement does help me grow this channel and make better content for you. Congratulations Sharon for the comment of the day. They took our parking spot. A few years ago, I was going through a harder point in my life. I was living with my brother and my mom and that was it. My brother, albeit a bit younger, could barely keep his grades up or clean his room, let alone help out with the house. So most choices and responsibilities ended up falling upon my mother and I to work out. And at the time of the story, we ended up agreeing that the current city we lived in was too expensive. Her side, and really bad because I did not like my peers in the school district, my side, and in less than 10 minutes we had agreed to move nearly half an hour away and never look back, and it was perfect. Well, it was perfect for about a week, if that, because the moment we moved in, our douchebag of a neighbor existed. Enter Roger, who made the mistake of taking my mom's parking spot. This was an issue because if we did not have a parking spot, we had to park 5 minutes of walking away from the house, which was unpleasant for us. So, we decided to politely ask for a spot back. "Hi, is this your car?" my mom asked as she saw Roger walk back to his car. "Yeah, it's my spot too. It's always been that way." "Well, you see, the spots are numbered and this is clearly our screw you." And with that, Roger had driven away and set the tone for the entire lease between us. My mom and I agreed we tried to do what we could to get the neighbor to reconcile in his ways and keep notes of anything, well, not worthy, but otherwise not much could be done. The landlords did nothing to help us, so we were out that spot. About a month in, I left school about an hour early and found a free parking spot when I drove there with a friend and decided this would be the day we gave him a taste of his own medicine. Turns out he was not very rational either. This led to him blocking my friend in so he could threaten to assault him until my friend insisted on leaving. I told my mom about this and she agreed that this was the last straw. We were taking this guy down, so she told me to wait and do nothing for a day so she could get in touch with her friend who happened to be a sheriff for our local county. Now, I do want to defend myself a bit here. Nah, just kidding. We're totally effing snitches, especially when it comes to people like this. Anything that comes their way, they deserve. So we told this guy everything small that happened since the month we moved in. They were constantly loud, we heard yelling from Roger all the time. At one point, they broke some furniture outside and my mom could smell bad stuff through the walls. This turned out to be drugs. The sheriff seemed intrigued. "Now, Mom, how much do you hate this guy?" "I just want my parking spot." "Well, here's the thing. We can't do anything about your parking spot. That's a civil dispute. Another territory, but... You mentioned you smell stuff through the walls, right? Well, we've been arresting an awful lot of people driving under influences, and it is really close to this complex. If we got him for that, he'd have no car to park in your spot behind bars." And so, our plan was born. We wrote down everything we smelled. We wrote down the plates of every car that was in our and his spot. We even set a camera up to automatically take pictures of cars and log when they left and pulled in. A motion camera I set up on a high window with a Raspberry Pi, and basically every noise we heard. And when the time came and the sheriff needed evidence, we forwarded it all onto the police officer. Fast forward through months of this, half of our apartment is packed up. I've resigned to always walking home and not even bothering having my mom drive me most days, and her neighbor is still being obnoxious as hell. And then I saw a truly beautiful sight. The apartment right next to us, swarmed by 6 law enforcement cars, 2 of which were for CPS, and 4 of which were, well, armed effing cops. Turns out, almost every single plate we noted down and sent to the friend had been arrested for some form of drug possession. He was not just buying drugs, he was selling drugs. Basically, every kind of them. We know he had some form of cocaine, meth, and weed in his house, and there was probably more we were not told of. And that CPS card? Turns out, he had shared custody of 3 kids. Oh, CPS is for Child Protection Services. He definitely won't be seeing those kids again, the sheriff told us. He also told us later that Roger got years behind bars, though I am not sure how many. probably something over 10. The funny part is that nobody except the sheriff knew my mom was behind this. She said she wanted to remain anonymous and even turned him down on taking us to dinner. When he asked her why, she replied, "Well, it was a bit late, but you got us that parking spot back, didn't you?" What the hell? This went from a simple revenge to getting this guy arrested for over 10 years. What is this story? This is ridiculous, but I guess if he was doing some really shady stuff, well, he was on the other side of the law and got served some time, but 10 years? That's huge! Can you imagine living 10 years of your life without some good spicy videos? I don't want that to happen to you, and since you're not in jail, I think you're better subscribe to the channel so you see my videos on your feed and get the opportunity to help me grow this channel. You know I'm joking around, but it really does help. Not a good idea to hire your girlfriend instead of the shop teacher. This story is about my dad and happened in the mid to late 70s. My dad taught shop in a very tough part of town. Think ghetto area with beginnings of gangs. He was highly respected by all of his students because they knew he would not tolerate their BS. Summers were a tough time for our family because teachers do not get paid for summers, so they do have to find jobs. One year there was a perfect job at the school that was tailor-made for my dad. The group funding the summer class actually wrote the job description with my dad in mind. The school principal chose to hire his mistress to teach this vocational class instead. The woman had absolutely no clue about the subject matter. She was an English teacher, but she got a job instead. My dad was quite angry, and so was the group funding the job, but hiring was solely the principal's decision. The principal was married to a woman with money, and he did not want her to know about his mistress. My dad helped the janitor with a lot of maintenance for the school and was good friends with him. My dad had keys to the entire school because of this. He also had a lot of experience with all sorts of locks, a hobby of his. Dad knew that making friends with the janitor and secretary would help him around the school, and he made a point of doing this at every school. He knew where the combination to open the giant safe in the office was. For some reason, the school had been built with a huge old-fashioned safe, think bank safe type, and the principal kept the combination written down inside a desk drawer. Yes, that was an idiot move. But this man was very arrogant and refused to ever change the combination or memorize it. Who will dare to get into his things? My dad never threw things out and often pulled things out of the dumpster if he thought they might be helpful. One of the things he rescued from the dumpster was a life-size skeleton that was discarded when a biology teacher left suddenly. The principal was freaked out by it and ordered it tossed because the teacher left. The skeleton was not school property, and the principal had no idea that my father had rescued it from the dumpster. The principal gave his mistress very expensive status symbol type things. This included a mink coat, jewelry, and expensive trips. Both the principal and the mistress told their spouses that the trips were to educational conferences. Being friends with the secretary meant he heard all the gossip and knew that the principal kept these things in the big safe in the office so that his wife will not know about them. And neither will the mistress' husband. Being really irate about the job because he had to find something else and because the kids would learn nothing from this job training course, my dad decided to set up revenge. He took the skeleton to the safe and dressed it in the mink coat and fancy jewelry. He put the skeleton on a stand that held it upright inside this big safe. Then he left for the summer. On the last day of the summer course, the principal and his mistress were getting ready to take a week-long trip together. They told their spouses it was for a conference. Then they went to get the coat and jewelry so the mistress would have a chance to wear them. The mistress did not care that it was summer. She wanted to wear the coat. Yes, this makes no sense, but she was super status conscious and wanted to show it off. She was that kind of person. When the principal opened the safe, he saw the skeleton in the coat and jewelry. He had a panic attack. He had no history of heart trouble and that he and mistress thought was a heart attack. They called an ambulance. The mistress went to the hospital wearing the jewelry that she grabbed while waiting for the ambulance. The coat was left on the skeleton in the safe. Wife showed up at the hospital and met the mistress in her jewelry. It was a very distinctive and a style that the wife had asked her husband for on several occasions. The wife knew a teacher could never afford it. When the principal and the mistress left in the ambulance, no one thought to lock the safe. The door was just pushed shut. but it had a big wheel that had to be turned to lock it. Wife went to the school to see what was in her husband's office about the mistress, and she saw her dream coat in the safe. The wife never saw the skeleton because the janitor took it out of the safe after the ambulance left. The principal knew he was in a lot of trouble with his wife and the school board. He kept ranting about a skeleton, but it wasn't there, and he was the only one who saw it other than the mistress. The school board thought he was delusional and had violated a morality clause in his employment contract. He got divorced and could not take any money from his wife because she proved his adultery. The mistress would not talk to him or say anything about the situation because she didn't want to incriminate herself. After the principal was fired, his secretary testified about his mistress and the money spent on her at the divorce proceedings. He literally lost everything, including his pension. His wife got it all. The mistress tried to lie to her husband about why she was there and said the jewelry was from a contest for best teacher. Her husband divorced her and got custody of their kid. Not common in divorce at that time, because of her infidelity being a bad influence on the kids. She got fired and had to give the jewelry to the principal's wife. The school board did an audit of the school budget. The principal got arrested for fraud and embezzling because he used school money for the coat and for trips that he and the mistress took that were supposedly for educational training. My dad thought this was all exactly what the principal and his mistress deserved. He would not have said anything about this matter if they did not take a really good paying summer job away and they did not leave a bunch of kids stuck in a class where they will learn nothing because all the teacher could do was tell them to read the book. She could not do any of the projects that were part of the course because she was an English teacher and not a shop teacher. To be honest, I think depriving the kids of solid job skills that the class was designed to teach upset him even more than having to find a different summer job. He did enjoy having a different principal the next year. Wow, this was definitely one of the best revenge I've heard since a long time. He did so little and it caused a huge snowball of mess for the principal. All he wanted was the job he was supposed to get. Or maybe he just really cared about these kids not learning anything during the summer. But hey, they were both cheating and committing fraud. Karma got back at them for the wrong they did. What bothers me the most is that he is the principal. Kids are looking up to him, probably, and he's not being a good influence. But if you want to leave a good influence on other people, you can subscribe to my channel and let other people know my videos are worth subscribing to. So thanks! This was another great pro-revenge video, and I hope you enjoyed the heat you just received. Thank you for liking the video, for commenting, for subscribing, and even for those who shares the videos. This really helped me a lot, and I appreciate what you do for me. I wish you all a beautiful day. I hope you are doing your best to reach your dreams, live a fulfilled life, have fun, and love the people around you.